Two busloads of schoolgirls are driving along a highway through a forest. Everyone is chatting merrily, and a lonely girl named Mitsuka is writing a poem. Her friends ask her to break away from her notebook for once and enjoy the world. Mitsuka bends down to pick up her pen when a gust of hurricane-force wind hits the school bus and blows it through, cutting all the other passengers to pieces. When Mitsuka looks up, the bus has no roof and her friends are missing the top halves of their bodies. Moments later, a second gust of wind hits, but Mitsuka manages to dodge in time to avoid being killed, as do her friends. When the bus stops, she gets off of it and runs down the highway across the top halves of the bodies. In front of her is a group of 4 girls. She pushes one of them to the ground, saving her life, while the other girls suffer the same fate. But just moments later, a girl dies trying to save a group of cyclists. Left alone again, Mitsuka runs as far as she can and reaches the river. Toward the shore use several bodies of schoolgirls. She washes her face and changes into a clean uniform before heading off to wander the highway again. After hours of pointless walking, she reaches the girls' school. Oddly enough, the uniform she has changed into matches the uniform of the school. The schoolgirls recognize her. Mitsuka doesn't ask them anything and doesn't tell them about the mass murder that happened earlier. She is too stunned to react properly. Suddenly, her friend Aki approaches her. They don't know each other, but Aki says they always went to the same school. When a gust of wind hits them, Mitsuka panics and falls to the ground. But this time, the wind doesn't hurt her. Aki picks her up and walks her to school. Mitsuka explains the morning event as a lucid dream. Left alone in the classroom, Mitsuka tells Aki about the wind that killed all her school friends, and she has an anxiety attack. To help her, Aki leads her to the window, showing her that the wind is perfectly safe. Mitsuka reaches out her hand and calms down after feeling the warmth. The pair smile at each other, thinking about the absurdity of it. The pair then meet up with their group and decide to skip class. The 4 of them run into the forest, laughing and playing. Mitsuka's mental state is completely opposite to what it was a few hours ago. She forgets everything about her past life, believing it to be a dream. The group stops to catch their breath on the bank of the river. Aki and Mitsuka look at each other and sympathize with each other even more. Mitsuka then tells the other girls about her dream. One of them thinks she may have traveled to a parallel universe, but the others think she is just bluffing. Then they spot a pillow on the ground and use it for a playful fight. As the feathers fly in all directions, the girls look at each other admiringly. Mitsuka notices a couple of girls in love standing nearby smiling and watching them. The pillows should belong to them, but they disappear before Mitsuka can ask a question. The girl says that if they want to change their reality, they should do something unexpected and unusual. Following that, she shows them her reluctance. The girls laugh. Her words seem very important to Mitsuka as she thinks deeply about them. After a while, the girls return to school. Mitsuka and Aki are in the classroom when suddenly Mitsuka notices a pillow on the floor. When she picks it up, the teacher starts shooting at them with a machine gun. Everyone, including Aki, is killed as a result. The teacher says it's punishment for them skipping class. She is about to kill Mitsuka as well, but her 2 friends come to her rescue and help her escape. They are also killed. Mitsuka and the remaining girls run outside the school while the teachers continue to fire. Most of them are killed, but somehow the 5 girls manage to get out. Suddenly, a deadly gust of wind kills the others, leaving Mitsuka alone again. Before they die, the girls tell Mitsuka that everything now depends on her. Driven by the wind, Mitsuka runs until she reaches a town with people. A crowd of people are walking down the street, but she pushes them aside and keeps running. She only stops when she reaches the police station and meets a female officer. The officer at first thinks Mitsuka is sick because she refuses to speak and only points her finger in a direction. But suddenly the policeman calls her Keiko. When Mitsuka looks in the mirror, she is shocked to see that she is turned into a completely different person. The policeman turns out to be Keiko's friend, Tomoko, who is excited about Keiko's wedding, as it will take place in a few hours. Keiko, who just seconds ago was a completely different person, is confused. She can't think straight and lets Tomoko do whatever she wants. They get in the car and drive to the chapel where she is to be married. The morning gets even wilder when a crowd of women follow their car, as if Keiko is a celebrity. They all express their admiration for the wedding. At the chapel, many other women surround and greet her. Upon reaching the locker room, she was shocked to see Aki getting ready for the wedding. She almost can't believe her eyes and her mind is blurred. She tries to ask what is going on, but Aki secretly whispers to her to keep quiet for a while. She also promises to explain everything later, showing that she knows something Keiko doesn't. Afterward, Keiko is dressed up in her wedding dress and the girls marvel at how handsome the groom is. Keiko suddenly realizes that she can't marry a man when she is in love with Aki. Aki notices her panic and makes the other girls leave the room to get some privacy. When they are alone, she calls Keiko by her real name and urges her to do as she is commanded. Keiko still doesn't understand what's going on, but she trusts Aki enough to do what she says. After she gets ready, a group of girls enter the room to invite her to the chapel. Aki attacks them and kills them all to teach Keiko how to fight. Before she sends her down the aisle, she hands Keiko a broken glass to attack anyone who makes her feel uncomfortable. Keiko walks down the aisle with glass instead of flowers. The guests, among them only girls, they clap and cheer her on. At the other end of the aisle is an upright coffin in which her fiancé lies. Suddenly, the guests start making inappropriate gestures and taking off their clothes. They taunt Keiko and push her towards the coffin. When it opens, it is revealed that her future husband is a hideous creature with the head of a pig and the body of a man. The crowd forces her to kiss him, but Keiko stabs him with a glass instead. In a roar of anger, she also kills several of the girls around her. Aki arrives in time to save her, but they are stopped by a duo of teachers from the previous school. They fight and manage to escape outside the church. Aki distracts the teachers and Keiko keeps running until she is stopped by a girl in a tracksuit. The girl calls her Izumi and invites her to the marathon. Keiko looks at her face in the mirror and is surprised to see that she has changed back into someone else. She is now Izumi, the marathon running star that everyone loves. The crowd cheers for her as she runs with her friends. Her friends tell her that she has always been a good runner since middle school. Izumi doesn't understand what they are talking about, but by this time she doesn't want to know the answers. Soon she starts to enjoy herself and sees her high school friends running alongside her. But then her fiancé Pig and teachers start running after her. The girls ask Izumi to be brave because she is the only one who can out of this world. Izumi runs faster than ever and finally succeeds. Izumi runs but does not reach the cave. A schoolgirl finds her and brings her to a group of several girls just like her, who are standing with their hair covering their faces. The girl tries to kill Izumi, claiming that if she doesn't die, everyone else will. Aki arrives just in time to save her friend. She asks Izumi to repeat Yamatsuka's words. When Izumi complies with the request, she returns to her original Mitsuka form. As a final step to get out of this world, Mitsuka must pull the two threads coming out through Aki's wrists, which will cut her. She doesn't want to hurt the person she loves most in the world, but Aki forces her to pull the strings. As a result, she is cut in half, and Mitsuka enters the real world. She finds herself in a restaurant where, for the first time in the movie, men appear. As she walks further in, she sees a bunch of perverts looking at a poster of her with her picture of Izumi and Kika. The website reveals that she is in a depraved city called Man World, filled only with men who enjoy a violent 3D survival video game called TK. The only controllable characters in the game are Mitsuka, Izumi, and Kika, and all three are her. A man recognizes Mitsuka and tells her that she is in the future. Mitsuka loses consciousness and wakes up in a cave-like room where all the characters in the game are represented as mannequins. Wandering around, she stumbles upon an old man playing the game on his TV. He tells her that she is in a future 150 years in the future. When she was in high school, she was someone he admired. After she died, he took her DNA and her friends and created clones for his 3D game to entertain men. A younger version of the old man appears. He undresses and asks her to go to bed with him. The old man tells her that the final stage of the game is the fulfillment of his most cherished wish, to become intimate with her. The man is about to touch her when she suddenly remembers the words of her friend, who asked her to do something unusual to get out of the illusion. Mitsuka follows the advice and attacks the man, yelling at him to stop playing with girls like children. Mitsuka doesn't want her to get any of it, so she doesn't get any of it. She rips up one of the pillows and the white feathers turn red from her anger. Finally, she snatches the cane from the old man and does the unthinkable. Since her death was never part of the game, in the last scene Mitsuka wakes up alone in a field of white snow. She realizes that it's over, which means she will never have to be trapped in the game again. Although the movie seems quirky and nonsensical half the time, it is a metaphor for girl-on-girl love and the struggles she faces as a woman in Japan. Each of the three different girls represents a woman struggling with different but interconnected issues. Mitsuka is a high school girl who is in love with another girl. The scene in which they see a pillow in the middle of the forest depicts how women with a different orientation are marginalized in society. Similarly, Keiko is a woman who is forced to marry a man she does not love. Consequently, she sees him as a disgusting pig who only wants one thing from her. Then there's Zumi, who is a talented and determined girl, but she may not be a very good woman, woman, but she may not be a very good woman. But she runs away from the pig, which means that some kind of male presence stands in her way of success. In the end, the old man making girls characters in his game clearly shows how society is dominated by men who take advantage of women and their problems. Mitsuka is only freed from slavery when she dies.